Well, hello everyone. I have two very special guests with me today, but you'll never guess how I met them. And when I brought them in for the Wizard of Oz elopement styled shoot, like these two people, I really thought about bringing in something unique that I had never done before, and that is Brian with Vows and Speeches, who writes vows and speeches. It's very, really cool. And then we have Katie with Heart and Sola Creations, who does the Sola wood flowers. And I've got her flowers behind me right now from our photo shoot. But I want to welcome you both, Brian and Katie. Welcome to this interview, whatever this is.
Thanks for having
Hello.
me.
So really, I kind of wanted to start with just a couple of things. Like, I know when I approached you both separately for this idea, what was your initial thought? Like, was it like Wizard of Oz? Did you feel inspired by the theme at all at the beginning?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, especially coming at it from the writing style side of things, which is, I guess, a little bit unusual for a styled shoot. It was fun to think about how this was going to play out, especially since one of the characters was kind of a hybrid character that we had to kind of work through the kind of thematically how that was going to come across. But yeah, it was just a unique idea and a unique way of approaching this thing, and for me, from a writing standpoint, it was a fun challenge.
I would have to agree with you on that because I did throw that in the last minute. I was like, you know what? We should have a hybrid of the lion and the scarecrow. And I do have to say, it turned out so good that and I don't think maybe I've mentioned this a couple of times already, Brian, but when I read through the vows and I was like, because I obviously got to see them first, right?
Mm-hmm.
I read through them and I was like, what is he talking about? Munchkins and coffee in the back? I was trying to figure out what that meant for me because I'm planning this event, right? And I want to
Yeah.
highlight, I'm not a wedding planner, but I'm planning this event, right? And I'm like, okay, what is he talking about munchkins? Then I thought, oh man, Dunkin' Donuts. That's how that So because of your creative vows, I actually ran out and did a munchkin tower. I'm not sure if I told you the totality of that, but I literally went out. Oh, I brought everything in here with me too. I'll show you. Uh yeah, I'm not shy to show all these ideas coming to life. Like I ran out and I got stuff to fill the tower with.
Oh,
And then I
funny.
also brought in, Katie's flowers with me today in the office. Of course, the background's not going to show. But the fact that the Munchkin line really inspired me to have a dessert that is not a normal dessert. So thanks to your creativity, I was inspired too. So I was like, that's just something that's what I love about styled shoots. Now, Katie, when you heard the theme, what did your mind immediately race to?
Uh, hmm. I guess adding in like the metallic pieces into my bouquet, I use metallic paint as well as like regular like matte paint that I usually use. So that the
Ooh.
flowers had like a two-tone. You can see behind you like the middle ones have like a lighter green in the middle, and that's a metallic one. So they're really shimmery because the Emerald City. And then I also use little gold they're like berries kind of, but they're just little gold circles. And I put those in the center of some of the white flowers
See
because
that?
the whole golden aspect of everything.
I do.
So I love putting together like colors that you don't typically see together. So like the emerald, the red, and the yellow. That people don't normally come to me for weddings with that palette. So I was really excited for those colors.
I was gonna say we have these colorful flowers and the colorful words, and then
Mhm.
I felt like when and everybody I've interviewed so far, every time we talk about how it all came together, it just couldn't have been more perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like when they read your vows, when everybody read your vows, they were like, "Oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. This is totally me." And it was like, I don't know if you had gotten to discuss with the couple or at least Rebecca about the vows or anything, but
Not really. I think it was we had a couple of texts back and forth, but it was pretty thrown together, honestly. On my we just I just kind of knew where we were going with it, and I think I was actually a little. I think there was a moment of confusion that you and I had to work out, but on my part, but we blasted it out, and it seemed to work.
yes, and I think it was just a mixture of the Tin Man and the
Right?
Scarecrow.
Yeah, I think
Had
I
the
had the
brain
wrong
or the
the wrong
heart, and
amount.
I and I was like, wait, am I reading this right? Who has the heart? Who is missing the brain? Who is missing the heart and the courage? No, but I love that about this kind of back and forth though, is because you and I got to have a back and forth. You, Katie, I got to see you as you kind of worked with your ideas and just how it all came together. Everybody I've talked to so far has just really been pleased, and that's why I'm doing these interviews. Is I was 100% pleased with how it came out. I was excited to talk about it and really just inspire other couples. Because going forward, we already know that people get very creative, and I would like to think that they get creative with their vows and speeches, and they get creative with their flowers. And just by watching Katie recently and posting all these really fun things of people that she's like getting in tune with your brand, right? These people that are a little quirky, they're a little weird. And then Brian, I'm sure you've got a variety of people that you work with right now, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all types.
I was gonna say, the another way this is a special interview is the fact that we all met on Clubhouse in the Wedding Pros Club. And for the last 3 years, I've been working on Weirdo Weddings, but for the first, couple of years there, we were all on Clubhouse together, and we were like learning from each other, and some of us starting new businesses, right? Like, I don't know if y'all started in the pandemic too, right?
Yeah, and mine came almost directly out of Clubhouse,
Uh-huh.
and a conversation where I threw out the idea of doing wedding speeches as a service, and then Jen and another woman said, no, you have to add custom vows and ceremony scripts. And by the end of the day, something clicked in my head, and by the end of the day, I had a full website on Squarespace, and I put up some ads, and I got a client the next day.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so it was really born out of Clubhouse, and just that the conversations we had there, that's when it really kicked into at least its first gear. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we put so much extra time into the Clubhouse app in the beginnings. And Katie,
Mm-hmm.
how about you? I mean, I know you've been around for a while, do a variety of things, but when it comes to your heart and soul of flowers, like, when did that start for you?
Back in 2017, and then it really got
2017.
going in 2018. So I've been around for a while. Yeah, my online shop that's like just decor pieces or like just random items off, not like wedding items. That's a year old tomorrow. So
Oh, that's right. We were talking about anniversaries.
yeah,
Yeah, my Weirdo Weddings is about 3 years old. It's a nice toddler. This month, I just don't know the day. I just know it's August. And my cat just jumped up on the chair, so you'll probably see a shadow of a cat. But yeah, I really love the fact that on Clubhouse we could only hear each other's voices, and we were obligated to like listen to each other and our ideas and encourage each other as business owners is what I really, really loved. And especially when I loved holding the creative rooms because we could just let our imagination run wild with all these theme weddings, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, going back to the styled shoots, it's like, what is something that you may have taken away, even if I know maybe this is like one you've done with me, but maybe you do some in the future. What is something that you found beneficial from the styled shoot that you want to maybe share with wedding vendors on how it maybe challenged you or your creativity kind of grew just a little bit?
Well, I
One.
think for me, I didn't think I had a role in style shoots. I mean,
Right.
I just didn't think that was something that would be useful to me or in any way applicable to me. So it was only after talking with you and not just realizing that you were doing video as part of it, but also that I had a chance to maybe shape the way that uh, the thing would come across and perhaps maybe the emotion or the whimsy of it, uh, and um, and those are important. I think if you're doing any kind of styled shoot, to and you've got people up there and they're not actually getting married, then you really want it to look like they are, and perhaps having the words there and making it fun or emotional, and forcing people to do that maybe will capture something in the photo or in the video that wouldn't be there otherwise. And so it's something, I think it's something I'll definitely look to do more of with different types of situations. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's one thing I do love about the way I work now in styled shoots is I try my best to get honest to God, like real couples. like real people off the street kind of couples that are into the theme or into whatever we're trying to put together. And so I think for your role that was played in this was perfect, because I feel like they resonated with the vows as well. There's Mando. And I loved reading them, and just so y'all know, I mean, you already know that it's coming out on Offbeat Wed very shortly, but even the editor who was putting it together, they were like, we want to read all of the vows, not just that little snippet that you photographed. Because I was doing my best, and this is just for Brian, when I'm thinking photography, I'm like, how can I incorporate what Brian did? Because like that's really hard, because it's verbal, right?
Yeah.
And so there's two things I did for you. Obviously, I did the video, and nobody rehearsed. It was perfect because I love that realness that came with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing was I printed them out at home after the style shoot was over, because I just ran out of time, you know?
Yeah.
And so I tried to make it look really pretty and put some emerald and all kinds of stuff next to it. And so there was two things that I could like give you as an end result if you wanted them for your portfolio.
Sure.
So and so, Katie, when we go to you, like I know you've done a lot of styled shoots. I say a lot, but I know you've done a handful. I've seen the work, and going forward for you, like, what do you get out of styled shoots personally and creatively?
First of all, it's like awesome for the creativity, because like I said, I don't get weddings where they ask for such outlandish kind of things that often. But this is also great because I love to talk to people about breaking traditions. So like having a styled shoot that is so whimsical is a great way to say like, look, it can be okay. Like it's okay to break the rules and do your own thing. So that's really handy to have like proof of the concept, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is like the networking with you guys and everyone else who was on it, all the other styled shoots I've done. You get to meet so many people. And like you said, I shipped you my flowers. I'm in Pennsylvania, you're in Texas.
Yeah.
So I can do weddings anywhere. So being able to network with people beyond my little bubble around Philadelphia, like it's a lot of fun, because you know, you get to know the people around you, but you know, there's weddings happening everywhere. So you want to be
It's
talking
true.
to everybody.
It's true. And you and Brian have this potential for, nationwide, global wide services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we're lucky to have a business model that allows us to work everywhere. And I think what that does is allows us to network with everyone. So it's fun.
The coolest
Yeah.
thing ever. And like,
Yeah.
and I know that the online world is ever expanding for so many of us. And so when we're thinking about wedding days in general and anything creative that Brian and Katie put together for your wedding, I think we think there's endless possibilities. And I love that you brought up the traditions, Katie, because I know that I'm always thinking about how can I make and break certain traditions? How did I break it with my own wedding? Or, how can I help guide my couples? I don't want to tell them what to do, but I do want to guide them to where they find a day that is just wonderful for them, that they're happy with the day and how it came out. Is there anything that any advice you might give couples right now that are kind of seeking around for these types of services, or maybe they didn't know it was a thing, that you can maybe encourage them to come find you?
I think just looking up on Instagram, like weird stuff kind of thing. And also if you can find any sort of like oddities kind of market sort
It's
of thing.
true.
There's a lot of those lately.
Yes.
I was actually at one in April, and I found a bunch of wedding people there because they, didn't know it was a thing. And, people just want to be like given permission to be weird sometimes, especially around weddings that are so stuffy or have like a tradition of being stuffy sometimes.
Or
so
just generic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just generic.
Yeah. So like being able to personalize it and like break the rules. Like they just want to be told it's okay to do that. And I'm here to tell you.
Sometimes you just need a little bit of permission from somebody who gets it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But we're out here. So
yeah, you can totally find us. And Brian, what would you say that, when people are looking for you, what some things you could give them as far as advice for their vows and speeches and all the things that go into their wedding days, and having to be like maybe even scared to stand up and do a toast or something?
I think the thing that I'm trying to get people, and particularly other wedding vendors, but couples in general, to understand is that the more time that you leave yourself the better it's going to be.
Mm.
And what typically happens is people either know that they don't have this skill set, and right away they start looking for people for help, or they panic and they run it because they run out of time. And so we get a lot of panic buyers. You know, a lot of people come in that are possibly good writers, but they just either couldn't get their arms around it, or just simply lost track of the calendar. And and so I think understanding that this is something that we could just make it easier for you, that you're not sacrificing your personal connection to it. What you're doing is you're getting help manifesting that that customization, that personalization that you really want, that authenticity. You want to find the right words, and it's not it's going to be just as authentic for me to help you as for you to write it yourself. It's just it's you don't lose authenticity if someone tells you, hey, why don't you phrase it this way, right? And because that's what you really feel, right? And so I think from that standpoint, it's helpful. But going to, you know, breaking traditions and breaking the mold, I think personalization is the key here. And
Yeah.
there are a lot of a lot of couples that are very proudly offbeat or oddballs or whatever, and you know, and a little weird, and they like being a little weird, and that should come across. If it can't come across in your wedding venue, and you don't have the ability to make it really super customized visually, you can at least work on the content from that standpoint, or hire vendors that you know are a little that have that in them and are going to see the, you know, in your case, Jen, see through the camera a little differently than maybe somebody that is perhaps a more traditional photographer, you know.
No, I love that, because I've been trying to work on my voice recently. I just redid my like my text logo that says Weirdo Weddings Photography, and I'm gonna just highlight it. It says I'm not a planner, but I was trying to talk to people about weirdo weddings is like not about overly thematic all the time, and what you
Yeah.
just touched on is 100% true, because I feel like there's a lot of internal weirdos that will never tell you they are unless it's like a really quiet time, like I'm really a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's the folks that you just know that they're their own person, they're authentic, and they're out there, and they're not ashamed to say anything about at any time. And then you have the internal ones, which is totally me for about half my life. But the cool thing is that now I can talk to people about it and they get it now. Like I was like, yeah, I have several brands going, but even under Weirdo Weddings, there's an umbrella that people can judge you quickly for, especially if I'm going to do a Wizard of Oz, which I totally enjoyed it. But I'm also like, hire me for your backyard wedding with a Hobbit theme. You know, it's more like focused on the nature and the growth of your backyard. You know,
Yeah.
it's just super neat what we can do these days with the couples that we all meet. And so I'm so thankful y'all could come on today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we want to cover about the shoot that I found fabulous. I know that you weren't here, but I'm sure if you were, you would have seen it working just like any other wedding day. There was a lot happening. There was a lot of decorating. There was a lot of last minute things. Had a great team come in. I'm sure y'all saw most of the photos. I've given y'all the gallery so y'all could see how the cake turned out, how the couple turned out. And again, like the video of the vows was great. And Jasmine, our officiant, was very thankful to also be included, because she felt like also officiants are kind of left out of styled shoots. And I thought that was a very valid point. Even though I've done my darndest to get real officiants in there and have somebody officiate it like a real wedding. So I'm so glad that she got to be a part of that, because she enjoyed reading the vows as well.
Right.
And I was like,
Well,
see, it was easy to read.
well, thanks for including us, and it was great fun, and you know, can't wait for the next one. It'll be for, you know.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait to release this one and then have it go out into the world, and then showcase everything that we all got to work on together. And then any final thoughts, Katie, with you? Like anything you're excited about coming up or creatively?
Firstly, sorry, I guess my internet just glitched and I got
Yeah.
kicked out. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
back.
you're back. You're back.
So I missed a little bit of what you were saying, but
It's all good.
so what's coming up for me is what you asked?
Yeah, like, just we were finishing up the creativity of the Wizard of Oz, and just like what might be coming up for you that's super creative and fun. And like I said, we've got Offbeat Wed about to go live, and we're all really excited about it. Anything fun coming up for you?
Just Halloween, which
Oh
is
yeah,
my
we got
favorite time
spooky
of year.
season. We
So
got
just all of
spooky
that.
seasons and markets and trade shows and all these really cool things that I know I've got a couple coming up, and I'm watching the ones over there in New Jersey too.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be
I'm
really
still
neat.
debating if I should do the one next month, but I think I'm just going to stick to the December one.
Yeah, it's a commitment to get your work out there and have enough stock and have enough, be ready for all those incoming customers. And speaking
Yep.
of places I will see y'all next, I get to see Brian at Wedding MBA again, I
Yeah,
believe,
yeah. We've got
November.
a booth just like last year, so yeah, we'll be
Yes.
for
And
sure.
so Katie's like one of the only handfuls of people that I have not met in person yet. So it's on my list.
It feels like we have hung out like a million times,
I
though.
know. I know. It's so fun. I can't wait to eventually, like, I'm keep looking at the Trenton stuff and I'm like, ooh, should I go? Should I go? I could probably make it happen.
We'll be
We'll
in the
see.
same room eventually.
Yes, we will definitely get to meet in person at some point. I'm so excited. And then Brian, I will definitely see you at Wedding MBA and come
For
say
sure.
hello at your booth and all that wonderful stuff. So well, as we round out today, I am so thankful again that I got to bring you in, my wonderful clubhouse friends, to be a part of one of my crazy styled shoots, which was so low key, but it still ended up being a production. I can't help it. It's the artist in me. I just go, it's like you have ideas and then they spawn off other ideas, much like the Vows inspired the Munchkin Tower, and how I decided to do a funnel veil at the last minute. Y'all have no idea how much last minute stuff happened. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
think sometimes these last minute things that do happen, I think y'all can agree, sometimes are the most powerful moments that you'll ever have as a creative. And there's a satisfaction to having that idea just immediately come to life.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
All right, y'all will have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon on the next interview. I think I have a couple more people to go, but thank you again, Brian and Katie, for coming out today.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks for having us.